Hey everybody, it's me Joe, and in this video I'm going to give you another IELTS listening exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a story, and while you're hearing the story you can try to fill in the answers on a table on my whiteboard. You're going to see some names and parts of the story so you can kind of link it all together. And I want you to listen carefully and try to write down the missing pieces on the table. All right? When you see the whiteboard, you'll know what I mean. Okay? Before we get to that, though, if this is your first time here and you think that you would like to improve your English skills, which include grammar and vocabulary and speaking skills, then why don't you sign up or subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification bell down below. When I put out a new video like this, you could be notified so that you could come and watch it and learn and become super smart, just like me. All right. Now we're going to move over to the whiteboard and you're going to see parts of the story and I will tell you the rest of the story. When I'm done with it, I'm going to fill in all the blanks so you can check your answers to see if you heard what I was saying. All right, let's do it. Okay, everybody, here's the whiteboard. And as you can see, I've drawn on a table. I've filled in some of the answers and some of them I've left blank for you to listen carefully and fill in yourself. The first column, we have the names: Dave, Donnie, and Chris. In the second column, there's a question: where did they want to go? The next column says, who went over to talk? And the last column says, what did they say afterwards? Okay, so now this story takes place a long time ago, back in the early 1980s, and it was in high school, and Dave, Donnie, and Chris were friends. And at lunchtime one day, they wanted to go get something to eat. Now, Dave and Chris voted to go to McDonald's, but Donnie wanted to go to KFC. Donnie really liked chicken. But since Dave and Chris outnumbered Donnie 2-1, they went to McDonald's. They went there and they got their food. And after they finished eating, and now you got to remember, this is 1982 and back then a lot of high school kids used to smoke cigarettes. And it was okay to smoke in McDonald's. So Dave and Donnie and Chris are all smoking cigarettes, trying to look cool. And they notice at another table there are 3 girls from their high school. Three very pretty girls. One of the girls is named Susan, and Dave liked her. Okay? Donnie and Chris knew that Dave liked her, so they kept teasing him, saying, hey, come on, Dave, go on over and talk to her. But Dave was a little shy, so he didn't really want to go over. So then they challenged him and they said, what are you, chicken? So if you call someone chicken, that means they're not brave. So finally, Dave agreed and he went over to talk to the girls. He really wanted to talk to Susan. He walked over and to try and remain cool, he kept his cigarette with him. So he was talking to her, he was standing up, the 3 girls are sitting down, the other 2 boys are over at another table watching. And he's talking to her about school, about homework, about teachers. And he's getting close to getting enough courage to ask if she wants to go on a date, maybe Friday night or Saturday night. While he's talking to her, though, he's scratching his head with his hand. And back in 1982, a lot of guys had long hair. That was the style back then. So he was scratching his head with his hand, but in that hand, he also had a cigarette. So, can you imagine what's going to happen next? He's scratching his head with his hand, with the cigarette, trying to be cool, and eventually, Donnie and Chris, they see a little bit of smoke coming out from the top of his head. It seems like he had dropped some ashes off his cigarette onto his head, into his hair, and it had caught on fire. So he didn't feel it yet, but Donnie and Chris could see it, and they started laughing. And then the girl looked up over Dave's head and also saw the smoke, and she started maybe gasping, going, "Oh no." That's when Dave felt it. His hair was on fire a little bit. So he started screaming in the middle of McDonald's and hitting his hand on the top of his head to put out the fire. So, needless to say, Susan did not agree to go on a date with Dave. No girl wants to go on a date with a loser who sets his hair on fire. So Dave goes back to his table where Donnie and Chris are still laughing. And the first thing Dave says was, "I hate you guys." And then Donnie, he asked, "Hey, did her friend ask about me?" And that brought more laughter. And finally, Chris said, "Dave, you should really quit smoking." All right. So that's the story. Okay? So, did you fill in all these blanks? All right, you can pause the video now and try to answer them, or you can listen to the video again. But right now, I'm going to write in the answers so you can see what happened. Okay, here are the answers. So, in the first column question, where did they want to go? You knew that Donnie wanted to go to KFC, but Dave and Chris, answers 1 and 2, they wanted to go to McDonald's. Who went over to talk? Question 3 is yes, Dave did, and Donnie, no. He stayed at the table with Chris. The last column, what did they say afterwards? You knew that Dave said, "I hate you guys." Answer number 5, Donnie said, "Did her friend ask about me?" And Chris said, "Dave, you should really quit smoking." Okay, I hope you enjoyed this listening exercise. And if you really want to, click on the next one that comes up and get some more practice. Okay, let's do it.